Oh, releasing soon. I cannot wait. And this is all fine and dandy, but can he? Hee hee. Alright, phone, quit beeping at me. Okay, people, welcome back to another Fwoosh Weekly. As always, I'm Robo, and happy Toy Fair. We have a lot of toys to go through today, and it's not over. I'm missing stuff right now as I'm recording. It's bam, 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 bam. That's okay. That's what next week's are for. I caught something of Mezco's as I was coming in here. I think they're going the rest of the day, and then throughout the weekend. Boss Fight is going the weekend next week. Next weekend? They got a while. And then NECA, I think they're doing some reveals, an interview with Pixel Dan on Saturday. And then right here on Sunday, Veeb sat down with Trevor, and there's a lot of Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles stuff to go through. And I was going to save the pictures till the end, like, hey, stay tuned to the end of this weekly to get a sneak peek of some of that. But no, let's do it right now. Ooh, look at that. That's familiar, but new? Oh, there's a lot going on here. A lot to unpack. There's that. That. But that's just sneaky peekies. Well, I guess our first item is too. Hiya Toys is creeping further and further onto my radar. This week they got into the spirit of not Toy Fair by revealing some upcoming properties that are right in the Fwoosh wheelhouse. Or that's to say, of the 1/12 variety. I think they've been more 3 3/4 inch for a while now, but with the announcement of Judge Dredd, where they're doing it in both scales, oh, Hiya Toys, who are they? Do I need to know more? We haven't actually seen the 1/12 scale Judge Dredd figures yet, but it should be soon. I mean, they're talking about these coming out sometime this year. So, yeah, get with it. But they kicked off this week with a 1/12 scale Naruto announcement. And they call it the Exquisite Basics series, and that it will be cost-effective and high performance. There's a lot of words going on here, a lot of word play, so I have to read along. So cost-effective and high performance, and I'm guessing that will be slightly less articulation and paint because they also announced a 6-inch Rambo Exquisite Super Series with ultra performance. Now, I would have thought Exquisite Basic and Cost Effective and High Performance would have been your standard super articulated action figure, but then they upped the ante with Super Series and Ultra Performance, so who knows? This is all just me speculating on the wording. But then the Godzilla Monsterverse further muddies those waters because the Stylus series will be cost effective and high performance unmovable figures, while the Exquisite Basic series, cost effective, high performance action figures. Can a statue be high performance? Then they're also throwing their hat into the 6-inch RoboCop ring with the Exquisite Super Series with plus ultra performance. I added the plus, it's just ultra performance. I thought I'd spice it up a bit. Finally, even though I rarely talk about 1/18 scale, they also announced G.I.Joe 3 3/4 inch figures. Just because that seems crazy after all these years of Hasbro having a lockdown on that size for this property, which is, you know, their property. But they have backed off recently, leaning harder into O-rings, so I guess they left that market wide open for Hiya. And it's not like we haven't seen different size, different scales, different type of figures from other companies this year. So, I mean, they are farming the license out. So this makes sense. It is interesting that they describe it as this new and exciting line will give fans and action figure collectors something that have not had since mid-1980s. Now, I don't do a lot of 3 3/4 inch, but haven't we had 3 3/4 inch for a lot of those years? So, I don't know. We shall see. Something I missed last week, threezero was set up at the... there's going to be a lot of reading. There's a lot of words that I don't usually put together, but they were at the Wonderful Hobby Life for You show, and they were displaying a nice looking Voltron. If this is anything like their DLX series, this is gonna be absolutely insane. And on the large side too, since that Iron Man and Iron Patriot are around 7 inches. Hopefully we see more of this very soon, because after all these years, after all these Voltron releases, I do not have one in my display. I say, as I've spent several weeklies going, well, gotta cut back, prices are going up, and money and space, and who knows. The Super 7, the worst, a lot of these there. Caught you off guard, didn't I? Their Robot Reaper was teased last week. This week, solicitations. Oh, And it looks as good as I thought it would. Well, I had no clue what it would look like under those robes, so the surprise was half the fun here. The other half was the nostalgia of Game Boy and floppy disk and drive and just obsolete technology. The other half was just the wackiness of the design. Yeah, 3 halves. That's toy math. A robot with a skeleton design scheme wrapped in a Reaper robe? Ooh, be still my heart. These always come in 2s though. With Robot Reaper, we're getting Black Falcon, who is not as wacky as I expected. On the surface, it's just an armored skeleton warrior. Looks more at home in a Mythic Legions display than it would the Worst. At least how I've built the Worst to be in my mind. Then I noticed the thermos and the sack lunch, and that's gotta be a weird interaction.
Break time!
Hey, is that your mom's soup?
Sure is. Want some?
Sure.
Give me your cup.
I don't have a cup. Can't I just drink it right out of your thermos?
That's gross, dude.
What are you guys talking about?
Gary wants to drink right out of my...
This is going on too long. Anyway, $55. These are due out in the winter of 2022. McFarlane Toys has solicited the next wave of The Princess Bride, and there's something old, something new, something borrowed, something blue. Borrowed because of the reused sculpting. Inigo Montoya is essentially the same figure as the first wave, except a new head sculpt, grimacing, determined, and then there's blood splashed on certain parts of the body. Same situation for Wesley. Unmasked head, long neck so he can reach tree stars, but they did re-sculpt the left shoulder to make it look like exposed flesh. That's a lot of extra effort that you don't see in a lot of variants like this. It surprised me. Buttercup makes another appearance in the series, and I'm rewording this from what I just said because I know y'all, some dirty-minded bastards. She looks completely different from the first. No reuse, although her legs may be the same. Both figures have cloth goods skirts, but what we can see appears to be all new. Then to cap off the regular figures, there's Vizzini. We needed this character. It's the Princess Bride. In fact, most of the quotes I remember from that movie is from Vizzini. And he even comes with 2 chalices for a battle of wits. Inconceivable. But then above all that, literally, there's another Megafig Fezzik. Same formula as the other re-release characters. Same body, new facial expression, cloth goods cloak. $25 a pop, except for Fezzik, who is $40. These all should drop in May. Oh, but that's not all. Todd also has some new Batman 66 figures in the pipeline. Hot on the heels of the standard Riddler, there is Boxing Riddler, who is essentially the same figure as what's on the pegs now, but with boxing gloves and trunks. Which is brilliant because that allows the Surfer Batman, who has already been released, just get some paint tweaks and become a sparring partner for Riddler. I'm serious, I have no interest in these variations, but I can respect clever reuse like this. There's also Penguin. Not the greatest Burgess Meredith likeness, but the essence is captured here. Although the lack of, well, not so much the cigarette because I get it. Yeah, but no umbrella really hurts. Is it considered a weapon? Because it looks slightly like a gun? But did anyone expect Eartha Kitt Catwoman? This is a great resemblance, helped out by the iconic mask, which kind of skews our brain that way. And I've never been accused of being the most observant person in the world, but I'm just now realizing that there are cat ears up on the top of her hairdo. Hey, it's also been some years since I've watched this show, so maybe I knew that at some point in the past, but memory dumps and, making space for new information. Target exclusive, $18 a piece, up for pre-order right now. Link in the description. I don't get to talk about the gang over at Boss Fight Studio a lot. They stick with mostly 3 3/4 inch, but every now and then they give us some 6-inch goodies, like their Borinqueña series that they just announced. Now, I'm not familiar with this property, even though I Googled and it's been around for a little bit. I don't know how I've never seen these designs, but I am digging the looks. Of course, there's the main character, Borinqueña, but there's also an amazing looking cast of characters to go along with her. Luz and Oro El Coqui Dorado have those same type of colorful costumes that lend themselves perfectly to action figures, but you know where my eyes are drifting. Yup, La Gargola. I can't help it, I'm a sucker for monster tops. That, and I learned how to say gargoyle in Spanish, even though I'm maybe causing some ears to bleed. Hey, I can barely speak English, much less other languages. Figure-wise, articulation, durability, I completely trust Boss Fight at this point, especially after their Legends of Lucha Libre Penta and Rey. Hey, if these are up to those standards, bring them on. Not sure if solicitations or release schedule or pricing, anything like that, but Boss Fight is still doing their not Toy Fair reveal, so hopefully something pops up soon. Okay, I'm only going to go through the full name of this once, and I apologize if I butcher yet another language on this weekly. Here is the Kaiyodo, Takeya, Shiki, Jizai, Okimono, Horseclaw from Nausicaa of the Valley of the Wind. And big surprise, I am completely unfamiliar with this property also. I just know that a beautiful looking bird figure strutted its way across my social media feed, and I thought, I gotta talk about that. Look at it, such a pretty bird. Pretty bird. The sculpting, the colors. Not only that, it's Kaiyodo, which brings on fever dreams of Revoltech joints, but that didn't jump out at me at first. At least not until I scrolled through more pictures and read the description, because this thing is deceivingly articulated. You can see some cuts here and there, nothing too crazy, but then they call out 9 ball joints in the neck. I mean, just look at those arrows. Not only that, there are 10 hinge and swivels in each foot. That's like a million bajillion points of articulation. If you want this thing to do something, it can do it. I want this pose. Ta-da. And at 7 inches tall, it can give rides to most of your 1/12 scale collection. If you don't have the knight that is also available in this line. But if you do have that knight, there are included accessories for that too. There's a sword and then parts and pieces to allow the figure to sit comfortably in the saddle. $95 releases in March. Yes, March 2022. We've gotten so used to going, oh, March, not next month, that's next year. No, next month. In fact, making sure that I searched Takeya on HLJ, and there are a lot of other figures with a lot of other interesting designs. Oh, rabbit hole. What can I say about Mezco's 1/12 Collective Rumble Society Atticus Doom that they didn't already cover in their own video?
Let's take a look.
All kinds of crazy hand and head options. I think my favorite is that the turban comes off to reveal a brain eye. I can see how that could be useful. There's also tentacles, spell effects, shillelagh, mystic mist, palm flame, and grimoire. This set is packed for $95, but it being a Mezco exclusive, if you blinked, you missed it. Well, it was up for an hour, which is good for that kind of release, but you just blinked, didn't you? Well, if you didn't then, you've blinked now. I've put it in your head. Blink. Blink. There's still the waitlist though, so jump on there, see what happens. That's all you can do. Also, the thing I caught as I was walking in here, for their Mezco Toys Fair, they have announced DC's The Batman Movie 1/12 Collective figure. Looks pretty good. I need to see this movie. Saying that, this will probably go up for pre-order the week before the movie comes out, and then sell out before the movie actually shows. A Jada Toys catalog is available online, and it shows their standard fare of metal figures and vehicles, but there's also something in our ballpark. Last year's Universal Monsters line was a surprise because it was the company's first foray into 6-inch super articulated action figures, and they were impressive. So I'm happy to see them adding to that line with Invisible Man and Wolfman. You know, the Man brothers, Wolfie and Bill, because Bill is short for Invisibill. Now, these pictures are small and fuzzy, but Wolfman seems to come with alternate head and hands, cane, and a trap, while Invisible Man has a hat, beaker, book, and interesting hand set. One set looks linked together, like he's pulling the glove off his hand, and then there's another hand attached to a bandage, like he's unwrapping or wrapping his head. It's been a long time since I've seen this movie. And at first glance, I thought the robe may have been soft goods, but you could see the articulation cut at the shoulders, so I'm guessing that's an overlay. The first series wasn't a big wait from reveal to solicitation to shipping notice. I'm waiting for the solicitation here because these are pre-ordered. Big Bear! Big! On the third-party front, there is the Memory Toys Fury Warbear Ursa Major. Big Bear! This is advertised as 1/10 scale, but like we always say with the monster types, the animal types, it can be bigger to terrorize any smaller scale or any bigger scale. Maybe it's a small bear slashing at Hot Toys figures. The proportions are kind of wonky, especially the hands, but there's also a certain charm to that. You know, the kind of charm that rends flesh from bone. But if I were to use this as a, like, middle of battle Ursa Major on my Legends shelf, which I wouldn't have a problem with because we're talking about a dude that has the mutant ability to turn into a bear, I could take that Build-A-Bear Ursa Major and get that custom grizzly head that's floating around, put it on there, have two different characters. Probably just in time for Hasbro to announce a proper Marvel Legends grizzly, in which case I would switch that back to Ursa Major, have the other one as Grizzly, and then I could have all kinds of custom fun with the Warbear. Maybe something that prevents forest fires in my toy room. How about a Scourge to picnic baskets? But there's also a very slim chance that you may end up with one of the 100 Panda variants. That's right, just 100 out of however many they run. I've been told 1 to 5,000 units. And I think it's just luck of the draw, which makes me think that it's blind box. There's no plastic. You can't see the figure inside. You just open it up. 5K Toys has this up for pre-order for $69, and it's not $10. You go there and click the thing. That's the deposit. That's locking you in for it. If you're interested, link is in the description. Bandai out of the blue with a couple of SH Figuarts Thor Love and Thunder reveals. Almost feels like they jumped the gun, because we haven't seen much of anything but a poster or two, and I think even those were leaked. These pictures have been floating the internet for the past day, and they're up for pre-order right now, but if you want to go into the movie squeaky clean, I'm giving you a warning. There's pictures coming. Kind of spoilery, but at the same time expected. You can skip to the Star Wars section that I talked about earlier in the week, so if you've already heard that, have a good morning. I'll see you next week. Still here? Okay, here is the SH Figuarts Love and Thunder, Thor and Jane. Thor is the tried and true new movie, new design. Hey, we're gonna say another figure, but it's a familiar look with like bright blue and gold thrown in there. Cloth cape, Stormbreaker with an add-on electricity piece, and then an alternate head. I don't think the likeness is too far off here. It's standard SHF, but if I were to order this, the lightning eyes would probably be what I display. For Jane, the look isn't too far off from what I remember in the comics. Not that I read those comics, but around that time, everyone saw pictures. This design is just MCU-ified. The unmasked head is... it's passable. It checks that box. But again, if I were to get this, the default option on my shelf would be the masked head. Again, electricity eyes. She also comes with Mjolnir, and I had almost forgotten that when we saw the hammer in Endgame, that was from a different timeline, so it had to be returned. The one in our standard MCU timeline was destroyed. That's why there's cracks in her hammer. Even neater, there's another accessory that simulates all those pieces coming back to the handle, and that's along with a big electricity piece that she can... Despite all the pictures of Jane being marked pending licensor approval, both are up for pre-order right now for $60 a piece, should ship in June. Then there is the Hasbro Star Wars Black Series reveals for the week. There was Cad Bane from the Bad Batch, who has all the necessary changes to make him fairly accurate to his animated appearance. And I say necessary changes, I think the only reuse here is the crotch, the upper legs, and the forearms. Sure, they do that standard Black Series thing where they take an animated design and reel it up so it can fit in with the rest of your Black Series collection, but it's still unmistakably Bad Batch Cad Bane. And yeah, the loose shots don't have the breathing tube, but if you look at the package shot, there it is. So it should come with it. But none of that matters because they also showed a comic book Black Chrysanthemum, and there's a lot of opposing viewpoints on this. I made the mistake of saying that it wasn't terrible. That was my talking point. Well, it's not terrible. You have your opinions, I have mine. You have every right to yours, I have the right to mine. Me defending my opinion against your opposing opinion just comes off as me wanting to change your opinion, and that pisses me off when people try to do that to me. Especially over toys, you know? So I'm not gonna do it. I'm still gonna say that this isn't terrible. It does kind of represent some of his appearances in the comic books. Plus it's fan channel and comic book, both known for their heavy parts reuse. So all I'm saying is it's par for the course. We are coming right out of Book of Boba Fett where Chrysanthemum looked like an absolute beast. So I get it. I really do. I just don't understand focusing on this release and just Hasbro's terrible, all the way around. Especially when, hey, right before that I talked about a great looking Cad Bane, and then Wave 31 and 32 are a bunch of unique characters from sources that we've been waiting for to complete teams and fill out that display. Counterpoint, and stuff I've talked about in the past, the price hikes are terrible. They're very hard to swallow. And do we need to go back to the absolute dumbass idea of using the original mold for C-3PO for the archive release. And wasn't I the one that said that the stretch goals on the HasLab Rancor didn't feel worth the overall price? I'm just saying there's good and bad. And we as people, as collectors, can choose to focus on one or the other. And I choose to focus here. I ain't got nothing against y'all focusing over here. It's when that's what gets me. I actually don't mind the negativity. It's just how some of y'all choose to express it. And I say that knowing that some positive people in the community can be just as much of an asshole about it. Oh, this is all good. How dare you? It's toys. And this isn't terrible. And that is it for this week. I say, lying completely through my teeth, because I know there's other stuff. I'm not picking up that phone until I finish editing this, because I'm done for the week. We will talk about what I missed next week. If you're interested in any of these pictures up close without me all butchering your native language, again, I apologize. I try. If you're wanting to see those pictures or links to more information, pre-orders, I'll be posting all of that on the Fwoosh front page Saturday at noon. Like I said at the first, NECA's going to be showing some stuff over the weekend. Hit Pixel Dan up today if you're watching this on Saturday, and then come back around this way Sunday for more reveals. But then we kick off Monday with Hasbro's Marvel Legends Fan First Monday, where hopefully we'll get to see some goodies there. And then they've also announced a G.I.Joe live stream for Thursday. But if you enjoyed this Fwoosh Weekly, comment, like, subscribe. I don't even know what I'm doing with this anymore. Much love to the plus. If you're interested in seeing videos early or in a position to help out the channel, patreon.com. But wherever you may be watching this, let's catch you on the Fwoosh. Oh, and next week, I don't have it right here. I'll be looking at the Hasbro Star Wars Black Series Cobb Vanth, which I'm excited for. But then I also have a little buddy from Plunderlings, the Plunder Strong. There's some interesting engineering here. I try not to mess around with figures too much before I get it in front of the camera, having that, first impression feel to it, but I haven't been able to help myself. It's just so playable.